Hey, so we're working on trying to repair the pantry and rebuild it here, and I just want to show you a bit of this. We've added screws, probably 2 screws for every one that existed. There was one here, one here, one there, and one there. So those 4 screws are all that's holding that whole plate up, and theoretically that's structurally holding the roof up and adding some structure to the house. That would be if you screwed it together. This one here has no screws at all in it. It's not attached to the house, it's just attached to this rotten one with one screw there. And to show you this thing here is a little trick when you fail to measure and cut everything too short. You stick a little block in there. You can see one screw attaching the roof joist to the plate there in that little miserable collection of wood. Is structurally as much as we're doing. You can see there over the doorway, neither of them is supported by anything, so that's probably going to bend later. But the big problems at this end, and obviously the floor wasn't held up because the plate wasn't screwed to the house. And the issue is that the house here slopes, but the pantry was built in the driveway to a 90-degree angle. So when they didn't fit together, the solution, or lack of a solution right here, was to just leave a gap. Well, you can see that we've torn it out, but this is how it used to look. You can see that it never really got there. See the angle there. So just to gap it away from the house and not really attach it to any of this. And since we've repaired the original house here, the corner that was compromised by being cut up, we've actually developed a gap even between the outside one. I'll show you here that this gap actually exists because we've put this back together properly, and the house doesn't lean as much as it did when it was being pulled apart. So it's a big old mess for us to put back together, but you can see better the gap between the building started here and the other building is here, so that's not really attached to anything at all. And so none of it really structurally sound, but just wanted to document how bad this is before we rip it out and try to salvage something out of it. It's very frustrating. You can see up here that these are just eyeballed and they've split. No drill anywhere. All of it gaps. Hard to know what the hell's holding anything up. See the gaps between those two over the doorway there. See, and you can see the gap running all the way down. Because anywhere there's 2 pieces of wood, there's a gap. Not using a drill, not screwing pieces of wood together, and not checking afterwards to see if you've managed to do something correctly, but just moving on or covering it up with it when you fail seems to be what we've been left with. But you can see this, here's our ceiling plate again. One screw at the bottom of each of those joists is what he thought was good enough. I guess at the bottom there is easier to reach maybe, but why you would have an 8-inch plate 16 feet long and just screw into the bottom inch of it, I don't know, but it's because you don't know what you're doing. The same reason you would build that thing. Because you don't know what you're doing. Same reason you'd have 3 2x4s here. The doorway, completely, you see those 2 roof joists aren't supported by anything but those 2 pieces of 2x4, so that's already sagging. Because structurally this door hasn't been framed correctly at all. Anyway, better get on with it.